everybody to the information session for Big Think AI. We're just basically, in this meeting, we're just gonna, go over kind of the basics of like what we do and the different sections we have for different types of, goals and objectives, whatever. So yeah, let's just get started. So who are we? We're pretty much the only, club at UMD that is about machine learning, artificial intelligence in general. We were founded in, I want to say, fall 2020, so almost 2 years. So most of us here are junior and senior computer science / math majors, and we've, all of us hold different types of experience with, ML, whether it be industry or research positions and whatnot. And essentially, the goal, the purpose of the club is kind of like, help people like you who maybe not have that much exposure or experience with ML. Just, guide and support you throughout your whole entire journey. So with the general just out of the way, this is our general team. I guess whoever's here can introduce themselves, but my name is Samrat. I am the Python lead. I'm part of the Pioneers, and whoever wants to go next can do so.
Sagar, you want to go or?
All right, I can go. Hey everyone, my name is Sagar. I am the LDR lead. LDR stands for Logic Discussion Research. And I am, unlike most of the team, not a computer science major. I'm a mechanical engineering major. So it's nice to meet you all. Yeah.
Guess I'll go then. Hi, everyone. My name's Phil. I am, like most of the team, I'm a CS and math double major. And I'm the AI lead around here. You'll probably see me around for most of the Pioneer sessions, talking about some of the topics that we'll be talking about for you guys. So, looking forward to a great semester. Manny, you should probably go, Manny.
All right. Hello, dude. I'm Emmanuel. I'm your guys' operations manager. More or less, it's the stuff with the Discord. So any questions about that, feel free to just ping me whenever. Cool. Yeah.
All right, great. Thanks. So yeah, we basically are made up of 3 sections. Essentially, the main sections we're going to be focusing here on today are the LDR section, the Pioneer section, mainly because the Edge section kind of wrapped up their application process last semester, so we won't be really talking about that. So yeah, let's just get right into it. And LDR can start with their, intro.
So, like I said before, the LDR session stands for Logic Discussion and Research. Now, if those 3 words are anything to go by, then what it means is that we will be doing a lot of discussion and research-based things while also discussing the logical side of AI. And what I mean by that is we'll be discussing the applications of AI/ML in various industries, and we'll talk about various applications and things of that sort. So could we go to the next Samrat? All right. So over the past couple of semesters, what we try to do to further this goal was we just talk about random topics and then just have discussion on that without any kind of connection, which we found out to be engaging, but not to the level that we wanted it to. So what we're going to do this semester to further our goals of engaging the crowd in these various applications is we're doing 2 main things. One is we'll be reading and watching specific case studies about AI in various fields. That way we'd be able to get better context of how AI is being applied in various industries and platforms. And what we will do in addition to that is doing something called an idea exploration or a novel application. And what I mean by that is we'll get a sense of all these applications and research and discussion, and then come up with our own idea about how AI could be applied in an entirely new field, or maybe be applied in the same field, but in a new role that hasn't been previously discussed. Now, you might be wondering, but how could we do that without any kind of technical expertise? So the idea of this whole team is just to get us thinking, just to get us to the idea process of, how could we apply existing technologies in fields that haven't been previously dealt with. So we will be talking about how we think the AI could be applied to solve problems. So we won't be looking at codes and things of that. So we'll be thinking about what are the genetic aspects it could tackle, what are some ways we think it could tackle problems and all those kind of things. So if you've not got the sense of it right now, this is not the technical side of Big Think AI. This is more discussion and idea generating side of AI. So if you are worried about not having the technical expertise to be part of this, you don't have to worry about that, because that is not what we're focusing on here. We're focusing on, forcing every one of us to think a little bit more about AI, apart from just the project side and the current applications of things. In addition to that, we also plan to have various other events that are outside of our classroom setting and our discussion things. So we do plan to host guest speakers to give us all better sense of what is out there in the field, and probably also network you all with them. We also plan to host movie nights and social events. This was something that we did plan to do last semester, but it couldn't come to fruition. But we will be doing it this semester. So I'll be sending out a poll in the coming weeks, asking you all about what movies or ideas what movies or videos you'd want to watch as a group for the upcoming semester. So we'll also do social events. So again, I'll be sending out a poll detailing more about what we're expecting. So yeah, that is basically what LTR would be doing this semester. And to know more, we've got, so it's the two of us and who's heading the LTR session. That's me, Sagar Vijaykumar. And I also have my co-lead, her name's Marianne. She's not here today, but she's there too. She's a computer science major who's doing a minor in statistics. Now, how to join the LDR team? You join our Discord channel and just keep up to date with things. And you could communicate with us through Discord too. And we usually meet on Mondays, 6 to 7 via Zoom. Now, while we did say that it's Monday, 6 to 7, we may be flexible with our times depending on, how many people would be there and how our how our club structure for LDR would pan out later on in the semester. So while it says 6 to 7, it's not necessarily going to be 6 to 7 every single Monday. So just be on the lookout for that. And like I said before, we'll have other events outside of the session. So again, those would have flexible schedules depending on what we all agree on. So are there any questions or any kind of questions, thoughts?
When's the first meeting for LDR?
So the first meeting for the LDR is coming up this Monday. So we'll be going a little bit more into what we're thinking about, what we mean by idea exploration and what would be expected of us and how we plan to tackle it over the semester. So that will be coming up this Monday. Any other questions? I guess that's a no. So there are no other questions, but if you do have other questions after the session, just message us on Discord and we'd be happy to help. And if there's nothing else as of now, we could move on.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Sagar, for that, introduction to LDR. Yeah, so now we're going to be going over the second section in Big Think, which is called the Pioneers. And right now on the call, that would be made up of me and Philip. So we're just going to be giving you a brief overview of what the section's about. So let's just go ahead and do that. So essentially what Pioneers is that we take people who don't know anything about machine learning or artificial intelligence, no programming experience in that domain whatsoever, and we essentially train them up on the tools and the techniques they need to know to eventually be able to code up their own machine learning project. So what does that mean in practice? We assume zero prior knowledge about data science or machine learning, and we kind of it's kind of structured in that the first half of the semester, we kind of train you up on the skills you need to know. So that means we're going to teach you how to code in Python. We're going to be teaching you how to deal with data science, how the actual machine learning models work, how a computer can learn from data, improve when it makes mistakes. And in the second half of the semester, we plan to roll out more examples and more coding practical stuff. And we will eventually roll out our final project this semester, which is where we're going to be splitting you guys up into groups. And each group is going to be able to solve a problem using the machine learning and data science techniques we've learned throughout the semester. So, yeah, so this is pretty much exactly what I just stated. To learn about data science ML, to eventually code up a project in Python to solve a problem using the ML concepts learned. And I suppose one of the biggest questions we get for this section is what the prior knowledge, like what prior knowledge is needed or what prior knowledge is necessary in order to participate. So I will say this, we do assume that you have relatively basic programming skills in at least one language. It can be Java, Ruby, C++, anything like that. It doesn't have to be specific to a language. And what I mean by basic programming skills, I mean stuff like, loops, functions, arrays, very basic data structures, even though it's not really, well, kind of. But, just the basic programming fundamentals, essentially. And if you want a reference point, it's kind of similar to the knowledge you would learn in 131, for example, if y'all were taking that. So, yeah. Yeah, so just to clarify, you don't need to know Python right off the bat. We teach you Python right from the first meeting. And it's a pretty simple language syntactically. That's a word. So
Yes, that's a word, Samra.
yes. Great. Thank you, Philip.
No worries, man.
Yeah, so that's what we're gonna do. And if you're curious, past final projects we've done, fall 2020, which is our first semester, we used these things called convolutional neural networks, that's a mouthful, to detect whether a given human cell, like a picture of a human cell, was infected with the malaria or not. Use some image classification techniques. That was a pretty cool thing. We actually did that in fall 2021 too, so yeah, that was fun. And then spring 2021, which was a year ago, we used a logistic regression model, another type of machine learning model, to predict whether a given employee from a company would quit their job. Very useful application that is, would save companies, tons of money, And yeah, so besides that, yeah, plans for the semester, exactly what I said before. First half, you're kind of learning all the stuff. The second half, we, dive into more practical coding examples, and then, get to your final project where you, build a one-to-one end machine learning pipeline solution, which is very cool. Yeah, so as far as meetings go, so here's how it's going to work. So in the past, last semester, we conducted all of our meetings in a hybrid fashion. And what that meant was we would host in-person meetings. And at the same time, we would also, have a Zoom call session and try to record it. There were some technical issues for that, but for the most part, that is what we did. This semester, we plan to continue essentially the same thing, except with the introduction of, the Omicron variant and whatnot. We just want, and the sudden influx of all these new students to campus. We kind of want to take some precautions this semester. So that would mean the first two meetings of the pioneers are going to be on Zoom. They're going to be virtual, all recorded, by the way. And then from there on out, it's going to be in-person meetings. And it will be, actually, the time here is a little bit wrong. It's supposed to be 5 o'clock to 6:15. And why it's a change? So from our feedback forms in the past, we've noticed that people wanted more practice and wanted more repetition because, that lets the concepts sink in better. So we decided to include a 15-minute recap session at the beginning of each meeting. So what that would mean is that from 5 o'clock to 5:15, we will be recapping material from the previous meeting. And then from 5:15 to 6:15, that will be the actual content for that day's meeting. So yeah, about the team, I'm Samrad, Phillips here, and Vander's he's also a part of it. So yeah, Philip, you want to say a couple words?
About Pioneers.
Yeah, sure. Anything I
I
missed?
mean, no, I think you covered it all pretty well. I mean, I'm going to be happy to see you guys there. Just, you know, I mean, if you have any questions, feel free to ask all of us. But I hope that you guys are able to, get something out of this. That's really it. That sounded
Yeah.
so generic. I know, like I sound like a business major, but moving swiftly on from that, yeah, that's really it.
Well, I also do want to say that joining this club, people have found it really beneficial for stuff like, you guessed it, resumes, because of the stuff we do. You're literally going to have a space in your resume dedicated to, having coded up a final project, a final machine learning project in Python with a group. So that's always a great benefit to, build up on those technical skills, show it off to employers and whatnot. Like, hey, I know how to.
Yeah, also I will recommend that, like, I mean, this comes a lot later and I'm going to rehash it when we get there, but like in general, being a with that final project, one of the good things about it is a lot of places, as you guys might imagine, do kind of care about your GitHub. So, if you've published like projects or you've made contributions to open source software, stuff like that. And so when you publish, like when you make like public projects, like, oh yeah, I worked on this and I worked on this, and it's like solid indications that, yeah, okay, you actually you know what you're doing, because we can see that you put your AI skills, quote unquote, into practice. So, stuff like art projects and just the general knowledge we'll teach you is going to be really helpful for you guys when you're going for things like internships. Also, a lot of us have internships in the leadership role, and we'd love to discuss if you guys have questions about, oh, what should I include in my resume, or oh, what are they looking for? Where do I go to where do I look for internships? We all have great recommendations for that, and we would love to be able to help you guys with that as well, if you ask us. But yeah, hope to see you all this semester, and yeah, have fun.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, thank you for bringing it up. That's really important. Another thing I did want to bring up, a little bit of a caveat, is that none of us here are quote unquote experts on the subject. Like, we're not technically qualified in any sort of fancy ornamentation. What we are,
I argue that a couple of us are, but
well, what we do offer is I think we offer a unique perspective, because all of us here are students at the end of the day, and we've kind of gone through the classes, the struggle that you guys have gone through. So we kind of understand how it is coming from your perspective and stuff like that. So the whole kind of purpose and mission of this section, I guess, was to kind of create a space where we could make machine learning concepts more accessible to the average person, because the main crux of machine learning is that, like, at the end of the day, there is a lot of math involved, and a lot of that mathematical notation can be scary to a lot of people. And I know it was for me, for sure. But there is, sort of middle ground approach to it, where we can, introduce stuff at a high level, sort of, take advantage of the wonderful libraries that are available in Python, for example, introduce it that way. So yeah, that's pretty much it from my side. If anyone has any questions. Yeah.
Also, to address Vedant's question, sorry to call you out, mate, if you didn't want to, but you're getting called out anyway. Yeah, you can be a member of Pioneers and LDR. They meet at separate times, so you can go to the Pioneer section and then right afterwards go to the LDR section.
Yeah, that's true. And our first meeting will also be this Monday, February 7th.
Yep. Also, although with that said, it is a 2-hour thing if you want to do both of them. So we encourage you to do both, but as always, make sure that you know the time commitment that you will have.
Yeah, so if anyone has questions, please feel free to ask them now or ask them later on the Discord, whatever. Okay, if that's it, then thank you. Yeah, that was pretty much everything we had to present today. So thank you guys for attending today. Hopefully you got some value out of it.